Speaking of deals and money getting thrown out, Amazon has a deal that's going to get thrown out as well too, or are they dropping it for their robot deal? You know, there's been a lot of incidents with robots recently. We've covered them on the channel. Tesla's recently had a robot incident. A bunch of companies are going through them. They're going through these robots. And what we're going to do before we dive into this, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, help out the algorithm. I really appreciate it all. But let's just hear what they have to say.
What did Amazon outline in their regulatory filing?
Hi, Ed. Well, good to join you here from Brussels this afternoon. Yes, indeed, we were just days away from a potential European Union veto over this $1.4 billion acquisition from Amazon. The news was really that last week Amazon had held a meeting with EU Commission officials, and the EU had signalled that it was its intention to block the deal. There was a deadline of February the 14th for the EU to come to a decision, but Amazon seems to have jumped the gun now and decided that it's not worth risking that negative publicity from the European Commission, and it's withdrawn from the acquisition.
And of course, we've heard from Margaret Vestager before about concerns surrounding big M&A deals, about where they take issue. Just take a listen to what she told the show a few weeks ago.
In any merger, it is so that if we have concerns, it is for the businesses either to address these concerns by debunking them or by addressing them by coming up with remedies that will solve the problem. And if a company say we will not come up with remedies, well, then of course we expect that they have good arguments that our concerns should not be sustained. And we are still in the process of assessing our concerns compared to a situation where we do not have a remedy to the concerns that we have drawn up.
Sam, it was interesting. We were just talking to Anthony Noto. He used to be the head of TMT, investment banking co-head over at...
Or she dives in more. They're completely blocking that, or we're trying to, because of fair... what's it called? I'm blanking. Where one company can't go completely over the market to where it's not fair compete anymore. Fair compete clause or something like that. I believe that's what it's all tied to and stuff. But that is wild. That is wild. They was trying to, and I mean, it makes sense. You don't want to have one company just in control of the whole world, because they could just buy out every company that exists out there and just run the world themselves, and just all the money flows through them and things like that. So there's definitely some reason that they're going through it, and I bet you the EU was just like making it too much trouble for them. They were probably losing more money than what it was worth going through, and it was causing more problems, so they ended up dropping them as a whole. And now I believe when you try to make acquisitions, you do still lose some money, because I believe a company may have to put some type of money down or whatever, but they just dropped it entirely. So I wonder how much of a hit they took because of this whole deal that didn't happen. Because I know companies, when acquisitions don't go the right way, they do take a hit of some kind, and some stuff does happen. So, I mean, we'll see.
Goldman. He's now, of course, CEO of SoFi. But he was saying, look, deals that aren't getting done are largely because there's buyer's remorse. It's not so much that deals can't get done. From your perspective in Brussels, do you think that's true?
Yeah, I think to a certain extent, absolutely. I mean, in cases such as Amazon iRobot, the European Commission really needed something almost symbolic to say that it could rubber stamp this deal and give it the green light. And as we heard from Margrethe Vestager just there, it clearly wanted some sort of a remedy to be filed in this case. The deadline for that remedy passed a couple of weeks ago, and Amazon, in fact, offered nothing to appease those original concerns from the European Commission when it said back in November that this deal could result in a distortion of competitions on the market for robot vacuum cleaners, and also result in higher prices for consumers. So Amazon decided not to come forward with an olive branch or any form of concession in this case, and really from that point on, the deal was doomed. Now, going forward, it creates a lot of uncertainty in the boardrooms regarding these large technology mergers. This isn't the first time that companies have withdrawn from a potential deal after getting intense regulatory scrutiny. You may recall recently that Adobe walked away from their $20 billion merger with Figma after getting similar scrutiny over that deal. And indeed, they had to pay a $1 billion walkaway fee in that case. For this time, Amazon's fee is a bit cheaper. It's just $94 million, but I'm sure it's not lunch money at least.
So to piggyback on that last video and stuff, uh, had to kind of redo it, lost audio and things, so I have to talk basically off of memory and things and fix it. But basically, what they were talking about is two things, and I have two things to really talk about based off the news that they were giving us. Is one, Amazon just didn't want to give the good enough reasonings to why they wanted to acquire this new business, and it was, and then it, I believe they were probably just like, it's too much trouble to try to acquire this company. They're asking for too much. We don't want to give it things. And a lot of the EU was worried about how competition would stake based on if they acquired them, and they needed good reasonings for it, and they just weren't applying it. So they ended up dropping it, I believe, because they just don't want to deal with the hassle. But one thing that we should highlight and realize is failing to acquire a company hurts. Like, it hurts so much. You lose so much money. One thing that we were talking about last year, and even they brought it up right here, is when Adobe tried to acquire Figma, and that was a multi billion-dollar acquisition, and Adobe lost billions of dollars still because of it. And they brought it up there. Like, in this case, Amazon's going to be losing $94 million compared off of a $1.4 billion acquisition. That's just how much they're eating off of it. Mind you, Amazon's $1 trillion company. At evaluation, they just made billions of dollars in the fourth quarter, I'm sure. But still, it still hurts. Any company, they're giant. Yeah, they might be chump change and stuff to them, but it still hurts because making acquisitions is how you build up. Like, look at Microsoft. They're worth over $3 trillion, and they're expecting to be 4 or 5 trillion soon. That's, you know how much they acquired last year alone. Their gaming division grew so much. Yeah, they did layoffs, but they bought Activision, Blizzard. They bought all of these companies to help build that up for them because they were lacking in the department at a certain point, and they keep adding to it. They keep adding to it. They're so efficient with it and things like that. And this is something Amazon tried to do to become even more of a behemoth that they already were. So it's a hit, man. So talking from experience and seeing stuff like that go down and acquisitions go down and corporate companies and things, it can make a hit. It can make a big hit into a company if they can't fully acquire a business and stuff.